what was dubbed as an implementation COP really didn't show much in implementation, but there were some great outputs in terms of delivering what we consider to be something that dealt more with the causes of climate change, and we had what we have been fighting for some 30 years to get a fund which certainly recognized the effects that the climate is having on small island developing states. So that in essence is what I would say is the big thing coming out of COP. But of course, as an implementation COP, we had hoped we would see even further progress in other areas such as mitigation and adaptation, of course. While these were not as significant as the gains which we got for the loss and damage fund, we hope that going forward into 2023 that parties would step up and try to at least close the emission gap, which is what is needed, having low emissions to actually fight the issue of climate change. Once we arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh, we had a clear idea of what we wanted. Of course, there were times, to be honest, that people were faltering, even within our group of G77, who thought, well, we would not make it. But I guess through the efforts of AOSIS and our negotiators, we knew we had an aim and a vision, and we weren't about to give up on this. And I should give some credit, or most of the credit, if I may say so, to our lead negotiator for the loss and damage, Mr. Robertson, because he was the driving force who actually managed to convince within our group and in the larger group of friends and parties that this is something that must come out of this COP. Because at times, as I said, there were hopes of maybe retreating for something less, interim and the likes, and AOSIS wasn't about to take that, leaving COP.
What we did in Sharm el-Sheikh was an agreement to establish a fund, but we have to operationalize it. The way we are going about operationalize it is to a smaller grouping of technical experts in a committee, a committee that will just work for the span of a year. And this is a model that we use, for example, for creating the Green Climate Fund. However, I have to say that the committee has a lot more work to do in a lot less time than the GCF, because there were a lot of issues that we're going to discuss beyond an operationalization of a fund. We're going to be considering other funding arrangements, so that was one of the main sort of stipulations and pushed by a lot of our partners in negotiation, as well as the source of funding, right? And an innovative source of funding that go beyond what is traditionally known as the main sources, and just figuring out how can we do that to get new and additional support to address loss and damage. So we have quite a task ahead of us, a lot of work that needs to feed in to a transitional committee, and we have very short time, but it's the urgency of the matter. We have to do this as quickly as possible.